Hey guys, what's up? It's Dark here with something a little different today. So a few weeks ago, someone on WoW Reddit hit me up and they asked me if I had a general starter guide for people looking to get into challenge modes. And I kind of went away and thought about that and I thought, fuck, I don't. And there's some there's some pretty big holes from these guides to somebody that has no idea about challenge modes and wants to get into them. So for those people, here it is. So I'm going to start off with stats and gear today. Now, obviously, player skills always a huge factor, but in Warlords of Draenor challenge modes, optimized gear has certainly taken a very large seat at the top. Now, the reason for this is that gem slots do not work in challenge modes in Warlords of Draenor. In MOP, you could walk into a challenge mode with 20 plus sockets and you'd be basically 8-manning a 5-man challenge mode due to the extra socket bonuses and how much extra stats you were in there with. So really optimizing your gear in Warlords is a huge bonus for DPS, survivability as a tank and healing. So now what I'm going to go over with you today is the classes that I know about. I don't know a lot about other classes that I don't play, so if you guys want that info in here, hit me up and I will be more than happy to edit the video, put it in, or I'll just make a new one and include it all. So to start off with, Brewmaster Monks. Brewmaster Monk's bonus armor is always going to be our #1 priority for stat-wise. Then for my build that I ran for my challenge modes that you see in the guides, I ran bonus armor, crit, mastery, haste. That was my bread and butter. I had a kind of a hybrid mixed bag, I guess, of crit, mastery, haste. Crit, obviously the #1 important stat for a brewmaster with elusive brew procs, and then mastery and haste for me. I did try a crit multi-strike build. I hated it. I felt like a wet paper bag. Other people run crit haste, little mastery. Some people run crit mastery, very little haste. Find what works for you, but for me, a mix of the bag was really awesome, and I really liked how it felt. Blood Death Knights, bonus armor again obviously, then you're going to want to run Mastery, Multi-Strike. Have seen some people run Mastery Haste or Multi-Strike Haste. For me, it feels very smooth and gives you a lot of control with Mastery, Multi-Strike. So play it safe, bonus armor, Mastery, Multi-Strike. Protection Warriors, same, bonus armor is the #1 key stat, then crit mastery. Now you guys should note that you can only get bonus armor on trinkets, rings, backs, and neck pieces. For Prot Warriors, I should add also crit mastery, if you stack it in that order, is more of a DPS build, I guess. Survivability wise, you would want to prioritize mastery over crit. But obviously play to your strength and depending on your group makeup, how your healer is, how high your AoE DPS is, etc. Now, one thing you will have noticed in Warlords of Draenor is the new secondary stat options. Now, what I'm talking about here is movement speed, indestructible, leech, and avoidance. Now, throw these in the bin when it comes to challenge modes because none of them actually work. So it's not worth stacking leech and thinking that you're going to be okay, or avoidance and you're going to be able to stand in more fire. None of it works in challenge modes, so don't even worry about stacking them on your gear or looking for them. So that's pretty much the stats part of it, I suppose. Now, going over to gear, and you're kind of thinking, well, how am I going to get all this stuff? Obviously, farming heroics, you're just going to have to do that. There's really no way around it. But what we do have with the release of Warlords is the new 640 item level gear. Now, leatherworking, blacksmithing, etc. You can craft you can craft as many pieces as you want, but you can only equip 3 pieces of this gear. I should also note to you guys, all gear in challenge modes will be scaled down to an item level of 630. Gear does not get scaled up, however, so you do want to make sure that you are going in there with 630 in each slot, not 630 in most slots and a 590 piece in another one. You want to make this as easy for yourself as possible. So again, going back to the Brewmasters here, in terms of the crafted gear, you want of the Firelash, which is crit haste, or of the Peerless, which is crit mastery. You should also really look at the Knight's Badge, which is the Dark Moon Fair trinket. It's amazing for a Brewmaster. It's bonus armor and crit proc, so it's bread and butter for Brewmasters. Death Knights, you want the crafter gear of the Merciless, which is Mastery Multi-Strike. The Darkmoon Fair Trinket, the Knight's Badge, it's okay for a Death Knight. It does proc crit, which isn't really amazing for a Blood DK. For me, I ran Tora's Unseeing Eye and Pole's Blinded Eye. If you don't have access to Pole's Blinded Eye, Kyrak's Stam Trinket, the second boss in UBRS, is really good. That's a stamina and mastery proc trinket. Just depends on what your healer's like, as if you can afford to take that damage reduction from not having bonus armor in that slot, etc. And Prot Warriors, you want of the Peerless, which is crit mastery, and you really want the Knight's Badge, again, bonus armor crit. It's perfect for Prot Warriors. So that's stats and gear, guys. So on to Enchance now. Now, Enchance wise, as I mentioned, rings, cloak, and neck are your Enchance. You want to be putting, for a Brewmaster, you want Mastery, Crit, or Haste on them. Death Knights, you want Multi-Strike or Mastery, depending on whichever way you're going. And Warriors, you want Mastery or Crit. So that's pretty simple for the tank classes there. I haven't got a Druid tank. I do have a Pally one, but I haven't bothered playing that one yet. If I do get onto that, I will update this for them as well. Weapons wise, Warriors and Monks, you want to run Mark of Blackrock. It's 500 bonus armor, and it's awesome when it procs in a challenge mode. It can really save your ass. Monks, you might look up a lot of challenge mode monks and see that there are a lot dual wielding. This may have been before the Way of the Monk buff was changed. Two-handed staves are now better than dual wielding, just due to elusive brew procs. And you get yourself into a world of trouble if you go looking at the dual wielding ones, because there's everyone has a different preference in regards to what they want to run. But two-hander Mark of Blackrock, it's simple. And it's also a cheaper alternative. Death Knights, you want Rune of the Fallen Crusader. You do not want Stone Skin Gargoyle. You want Rune of the Fallen Crusader. Reason being, now in Warlords, Death Strike scales with attack power, which we get from strength. So that's the Enchance part of it done. Consumables, flasks, food, pots, health pots, invis pots. Okay, tanks, you want to be running armor pots, the Drenic armor pots. Do not run your DPS pots, so Death Knights don't run strength, Brewmasters don't run agility. Run the armor pots. The reason being is we get attack power scaled from bonus armor, so you're getting the attack power part of it, and you're getting the extra damage reduction from the armor pot. In terms of heroism, drums are now usable by every class. You don't have to be a leather worker, or profession I should say. Sorry, you don't have to be a leather worker anymore. So you don't have to worry about necessarily making sure you've got a mage or a hunter with a hero pet or a shaman in your group. You can just pick up drums and use drums. Health pots, they do not share a cooldown with DPS or armor pots. I cannot stress to you enough how amazing health pots are in the challenge modes. Make sure you go in there with with health pots. Invis pots. Something I guess if you've never used invis pots before, invis pots will trigger a 10-minute pot cooldown on your DPS pots. So once you use a invis pot, you will not be able to use a DPS pot or a mana pot or whatnot for 10 minutes. Okay, so just be aware of that. And also, when you invis, everything disappears. You can just run straight through it. You don't have to try and worry about remembering where the mobs were to dodge them. As you can see here, everything just disappears and you can run through it. The last thing I want to tell you guys is research. Go and watch other people's videos. I have a full guide up in the description here, which you can go and watch. But go and watch other people's. Go and watch the classes that you are going to play and watch what they do. Take bits and pieces from each person's guide. Not everything that, for example, Baby Jace did, you're going to be able to do. Not everything that Asmongold's group did, you're going to be able to do. Go and watch them and take bits and pieces from each. Those two guys in particular made incredible videos. Me personally, I really like Asmongold's. I just like the way he explains things, and he's a pretty cool cat. So make sure that you do your research, and if you are super keen, go into the heroics and practice, doing the pulls and that in the heroics. You can get a feel for, I got stuck on this box, or I couldn't see around that door, or my camera angle went funny here. you've got all these options to do that. And last but not least, if you're having trouble with anything, hit me up, guys. I'm more than happy to help. I want to help. That's why I'm doing this. Also, look up people that are on the top of your server ladders and whatnot, and whisper them. Most of the time, they'll want to help you. I did that when I was learning to play a brewmaster. I was hitting, guys that were on sort of the top of the ladders, and I was saying to them, I don't know what I'm doing as a brewmaster. What should I be doing here, or what should I be focusing on, or what should I be stacking? It's the best way to learn. So that's it, guys. I do hope you found this helpful. I hope I didn't babble for too long. And if you need anything at all, please, as I said, do hit me up, and best of luck.